Well, aloha mai, aloha kakahiyaka, no ai ke awa yaka kua pauloa alo mahalo ia oko, ke ui ana, mahalo ia kina, ale koro mai iau, ele mai, ai pai ko o manao o oko. I am honored to share time and space with you all this morning, and I'm appreciative of the time we also had to share over the evening, sharing and exchanging thoughts and understandings. And so as I reflect on what little I can share with you all today, I invoke understandings that are rooted to this place here in Hawaii and to the centuries of a cultural understanding. And if I may invoke the word that you reminded me of, and that word is oneness. And so, in the spirit of oneness, the alignment that I was privileged to share yesterday at Kahilu, in that understanding of oneness, makes my centering here to this, my home, this, the birthplace of my mother's heritage. And I'm not sure if my words will be able to contribute to something that's going to be life-changing for you, but I do hope that the two words that I share with you today may serve as simply one pathway towards organizing and arranging things such that there's a oneness with wherever you may be, whatever you might be doing, and with whom may be in your circle. But as it is coming through the light, like sunlight coming through the glass, this is a Hawaiian spin on this understanding. In certain circles, when I get asked to speak, I'm asked to speak of LGBTQIA. And this understanding, it places a particular focus on things that take me beyond Hawaii shores. So when I bring this understanding back to Hawaii and identity as I see it through the lens of Hawaii, identity here for Kanaka is found in the understanding of genealogy and of land. So we say the words mo'oku auau, and we say the words ainu, to know who one comes from. So rightfully, I should introduce myself to you as Ainu Hinale Moana, White Dog, Wong, Kalu. My mother is Georgette Moana Matias. My father is Henry Daiao Wong. My grandparents are Mona Kananio Kalani Kealoha, John Furtado Matias, and Edith Gangiulo, Henry Goodlin Wong. They are my parents, they are my grandparents, and those are some of the names that reflect the families that I come from. I was born on the island of Oahu. Home, I acknowledge home to be all of Hawaii, but very specifically, my birth home is the Valley of Nuku'anu at a place called Pu'unui. The highest peak in the Valley of Nuku'anu is called Lenipuli. If any of you have ever been to the Pali lookout on Oahu Island, when you look up to the left, out towards the Ko'olau side of the island, that is Pu'ulanipuli. It's I don't call it a mauna because it's a pool. It protrudes. It's a hill. It's a peak. And Lanihuli is the highest peak, and there are three bodies of water: Waikahalulu, Uwehwe, and Nuuanu. These three bodies of water, they flow to the Sea of Maamali, otherwise known to the world as Honolulu Harbor. The Ha'alauloa and the Kula'i Kanaka are two names of the winds of Nuuanu Valley. And the Lihau and Ho'okapa are two of the names of rain for that valley. So here in Hawaii, we give names to rain, wind, places upon the land, places in the sea, and those are some of the names that I just recounted to you. These understandings serve to contribute to my identity. How many of you are familiar with the word Kama'aina? Okay. Kama'aina meaning child of the land, one of the land. In understanding this concept, one being someone of the land, it reminds us that we are not greater than the land, and we are responsible for caring for the land which will sustain us. And different belief systems might have land to be a commodity, might have land to be something that can simply be acquired, but in Hawaii, land is our mother. And therefore, when we acknowledge that genealogy and land is our identity, the land is our mother, and therefore we are connected to this land. And when we physically leave this place, we go back to the land, we go back to our mother. So it's a cycle. And cycles require balance. Cycles require that you keep things in a particular order so that there's balance, there's harmony, and there's a way to exist in the space that we hold. So two words that I leave you with today are kulana and kuleana. Can everybody please repeat after me? Kulana.
Kulana.
Kulana in Hawaiian understanding is role, rank, place, station, title, position. It's the who you are in the context of that moment. Who in this room is a parent? Mother or father? Yes. Who in this room is a child of someone's parents? Yes. Who in this room is a sibling of a brother or sister? Okay. Now, all of these roles come with a different set of kuleana. Please, everybody repeat after me. Kuleana. Kulana sounds like kuleana, but they're two different words and they have two different functions. So your role, if I simplify it, your role, kulana, and your responsibility, kuleana. Kuleana speaks to duty, obligation, responsibility. Sometimes it speaks to jurisdiction or authority. And when I think about, for example, being a child in my family, I was raised to be a certain way and to honor and respect the wishes of my elders. As someone raised by my grandparents, it was not my place to speak up against them. It was not my place to tell them what to do. It was not my place to go against what they wish. And should I think that I have the wherewithal or that I have the authority to go against their wishes, then I must do so outside of their home. Because it's not my place to dictate to them. This is an understanding that was found in my Chinese home and my Hawaiian home. Now that I'm a caregiver, however, although on my father's side I am the youngest of his 4 children, and on the large family side I'm the youngest of 7 grandchildren. On my mother's side, I'm the eldest grandchild of my grandparents, and there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us. 7. Equal amount on both sides. One side I'm the oldest, one side I'm the youngest. And I'm the youngest, I'm the oldest of my mother. I'm actually not the only child, really. I have a sister. I didn't share this with you last night. My mother pined away for her daughter who passed away shortly after being born. And that sister would have been 2 years older than me. And my mother so wanted a daughter. So role and responsibility. Being the eldest on one side and being the youngest on one side comes with 2 different sets of responsibilities. But my position and my ranking and my standing in the family actually now has come together, leaving me in advantageous positions on both sides. But with that great privilege of advantage comes great responsibility. So in my life currently, I am the caregiver for my mother. I'd like to look to my mother for so much more. But my mother had a stroke leading into 2015. So now 10 years later, I know I must be responsible for my mother. I get emotional when I speak about these things because I look back on the journey. It wasn't an easy journey with my mother. Gaining my mother's acceptance was long. It's a long journey. But we found ourselves at that place. And I'm thankful that I've had a chance to get there with my mother. I suppose that's why I am often overcome with emotion, because if I wasn't given the privilege of being her caregiver, I would never have gotten there. But now the roles have changed. I'm the responsible adult and she's in my care. And although I was not raised to speak to my mother in a certain way, now there are times where I must be responsible, and I can't always treat mom as the one that I'm looking to, because I know that she looks to me. She looks to me to make the better choice. She needs to rely on me and trust that I will make the wiser choice. She needs to She needs to place trust in her child that at one time she did not accept. And I told my mom one night, I said, no matter what you think or how you feel, this is quite some time back, I said, I am your child, and I was raised to honor and respect my elders. Whether you accept me or not accept me, whether you like what I say or don't, I will do right by you. Because it's my duty as your child to do so. And I will do right by my grandparents, because you, my parents, didn't raise me, my grandparents raised me. And I will do right by that which they taught me. They taught me how to take care of somebody. And my grandmother also said, when you see someone and you know that they have some kind of impediment or disability, or they're not able to do for themselves, you have to have aloha in your heart, and you just have to uikala. You have to forgive and be forgiving. And being forgiving means to be kind. It means to have compassion. And so, in coming to terms with all of these understandings, it reminds me that, remember the 2 words, ulana and Cslwh. What are they? Role and responsibility. Cslwh, your role, Cslwh, your responsibility. That for whatever reasons have brought me to this path in my life, that I am my mother's caregiver, then may it be, and may I fulfill it to the best of my ability. And may I never lose the moment to tell my mother that I love her. May I never lose the moment to be understanding that where my mother is now is simply a matter of the natural progression that comes to life. There are times where my mother knows that I will be her emotional child, so she tries not to be too clingy to me, because she knows that when comes time that she would have to go before me. Well, that's the intention. I always told my mother, I said, no, I will be the one to see through the door. You have to go before me. Because I'm her own child. I can't go before her. Not at all. But Cslwh and Cslwh, it allows me to walk through every day of my life and put myself in check when I need to. Would I be doing too much? Meaning, is it my role to have to go over there and do something? Is it my place to go over there and say something? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Do I have to take on all the duties that life can try to toss my way? No, because sometimes I'll be tested. Some duty is for me to shoulder, and some duty is for me to encourage others and help others to shoulder. If each and every one of us tried to shoulder the world individually, we'd never make it. But as a collective, we can collectively share in responsibility, duty, and obligation so that we share in the burden, share in the responsibility, share in the walk. And at least from a Hawaiian perspective, that's what we call lokahi, unity. That's what we call laulima, joining hands, many hands. When many hands are united, it makes small work. When we think of others, we give others opportunity to think of us. And when we think of each other, it is with the understanding that the world isn't just about us alone in the world, but there are others that we share this lifetime with. So Cslwh and Cslwh. The world taught me when at a young age to believe something that really wasn't quite true. And people would say mahu this and mahu that. And the term mahu was used in a pejorative manner. The word mahu, like the word holiday. How many of you know this word holiday? How many of you learned that this word was pejorative, negative? Well, let me correct your understanding today. It's simply an adjective. And it's simply relative to a century. In the case of mahu, mahu speaks to someone who has elements of duality or sometimes multiplicity. In one body, there can be elements of kane or male and elements of female, wahine. And really, to be balanced, one should have both. One should have perspectives towards oneness. Mahu people, to my current understanding, are people that are actually, in my opinion, closer to that oneness because we walk with the duality. I know for myself, I can see the world, I know how a man would think about something, and I also know how a woman would think about something. I know how a man would feel about something, and I know how a woman would feel about something because of who I am. But that is because I understand that being mahu is not a bad thing. As I tell people, being mahu is a privilege. And it's a power. It's a gift to be born in this time with this element of power. And so, just like the word howling. Howling is a term, it's an adjective that speaks to anything or anybody, even concepts, ideas, that are not of Hawaii. So if you come from outside, if you come from the continental US, if you come from another country, you come from someplace else in the world, the term is howling. And people who are native speakers of our language never really made howling a bad thing. Howling becoming a bad thing only comes about as a result of the history of many foreigners coming to Hawaii, America, and everyone else, that changed Hawaii well beyond the scope and the spectrum of Hawaiian understanding, to bring conflict, to bring change. But holiday is not a bad word. If you ever hear it used in a negative manner, don't let it unsettle you too much, because it's like the word mahu. Holiday simply means that you might have an origin that is not of Hawaii. You might have thoughts, feelings, sentiments, and perspectives not of Hawaii. But good and bad is a matter of relativity. And so, in the understanding of oneness, know that when you walk around and you think of things that could be said towards your person, like the word mahu, I learned not to let it hurt me, but I also learned how to let it strengthen me and empower me. So, as someone whom the world would call mahu, it gives me the kulana of being mahu, but it doubles my kuleana, because now I must shoulder family obligation, responsibility, and duty, and be my family's daughter and son all in one body, depending on the day, because of what I either must emotionally or physically or mentally and spiritually endure. And so then that makes me look in the mirror and have to remind myself, you look lovely today. Because if we don't affirm this for ourselves, then who will? It starts with us. So, my message. In my world of being Hawaiian, sex and gender does not serve to be my identity, but instead, land and genealogy are my identity. And the basis that I will either find success or the opposite is by my role and responsibility. If I fail in my responsibility because of my personal choices, because of my negligence, because of my choice not to honor the privilege of being given responsibility and duty, then that's on me. But I can choose to do right by that which has been taught to me and given to me. Therefore, I can honor kulana and kuleana. I can honor the role or the roles in my family, the role in my community, the role in my job. I can honor each and every one of these roles and all of the duties, obligations, and responsibilities that come with it, because I have this clarity. So when you walk away from today, just think about it. Role, responsibility, role, responsibility, role, responsibility. It just might be a path to help you find that, well, maybe I shouldn't stress too much about this. Maybe I don't have to go over there and insert myself at this time, because maybe it's just best to let those people be. Or, as much as I want to get involved with a whole number of things, if I do so, it might be either detrimental to me, or it might make my efficacy in what I'm already doing, it might take away from that. The epiphanies may not come all in one sitting. I continue to have them when I think about Kulana and Kulel. So maybe walk forward today and for the rest of your days thinking about these two words, Kulana and Kuleana, role and responsibility. May it be one of the pathways that you may access towards a sense of harmony and balance and a sense of oneness with you and the community that you are in and the life that we are blessed to share in. With that, I think this may, is this the amount of time? What's,
You're good.
yeah, what time are we at?
10:22.
So, I believe I've summed up the basic understanding. I'm not sure. Would you like, shall I offer you a moment to entertain one question? Possibly two. And if not, I'm very appreciative of being given this honor to come and speak to you today. But Mom, what do you say?
Well, wait a minute, we'll
Oh.
ask questions.
Okay. And yes, I'll see this
Being
on.
respectful.
Yes, what is your question?
No, in the time that I've been in Hawaii, I haven't experienced Mahu as negative. It's just something that is accepted. It's just who you are. And that I think is really beautiful. And I did see the documentary of the Living Stones,
Oh,
Which
1
I-
hour show, yes.
which I thought was fantastic.
Wow.
I couldn't, there was a lot of information there. It was kind of difficult for me to take it all in, and I'm getting parts of it, but I thought that was very interesting that the Stones had energy and power, and that the story, as I understood it, was that the Mahu people were kind and loving and powerful. Is that what it said? It mentioned a lot of stuff, and I saw it a long time ago.
In the, with regard to anybody, there are people who demonstrate and observe kindness. They demonstrate and observe compassion and all the good things that there is to put out in the world. There's also people who don't. The particular story of the four healers, the story of Kapai Mahu, which I'm not sure. Did you see that one? I can give you the link and you can share it with this group right here so everybody can see. It is a 1 hour. We had an 8-minute animated short film that we were fortunate to receive an Oscar nomination for. We made top 10. Yes, out of 100 and something. That was in 2020. We did a larger full-length feature film, 1 hour, and I was the host and narrator. But that particular story of the four healers, they were kind, they were compassionate. As it is in human existence, some people are just that, and some people are the opposite of that. So not all Mahu are nice and kind and benevolent. Not all, but that's just like some men and some women. Yeah, some kind, some white. Not everyone is cool. For me, I challenge myself and ask myself, when I depart this earth, what will people say about me? I'm sure that they'll have a diverse number of things to say. Yes, I'm sure that there will be lots for them to say. Depending on what time of day they got me, that's what they say. But then again, I wouldn't be asked to come here to speak to you if I didn't come with a range of nice things and a range of, I don't know if I want to go, that way, but it's part of being staunch about certain things that are important to me. But hopefully that answers your question. Mahu, again, is a gift, and it's a privilege. And maybe you might have experienced Mahu more on this island. But Mahu on the other islands, on Oahu Island, tends to be a very different story because it's far more of a place that was impacted by colonization. I mean, every island was, but colonization and the more American Hawaii becomes, the more Hawaiians and Hawaii go away from customary and traditional culture and traditional understanding and practice. And so there's a sacrifice that comes. Because Kumuhina is who Kumuhina is. Kumuhina's persona in Kumuhina's entirety sometimes has to be a staunch and fierce warrior, to sometimes posture on the brink of being frightening and fear-inspiring, such that people will not try to run over what Kumuhina is trying to represent. But that's because there are a lot of people like me who do not have that courage or that strength to simply stand in their light and to simply avail themselves to their best. Mahu, in another sense, the people who I acknowledge are very traditional style Mahu. They are, when you look at them and you meet with them, they don't have to transition from one to another, they just exist. For me, I live in that Western hum of the world. And so I transition myself and I migrate myself more. But traditional Mahu don't necessarily have to try to hold either. But Western society doesn't always have an appreciation for middle space. Yes.
A couple of years ago, I had a fifth grade student who announced that he was Mavu, and he's very connected spiritually. He's a healer. He does a lot of ethereal work, and he had announced to the class that he was Mavu. And at one point, so I like to tell you a story of what happened. I'll tell you how I reacted, and then I'd like to know how you would recommend if something like that ever happened again.
Yes.
So there was another boy he's Hawaiian, and one day he was referring to the boy who announced he was Mahu. He said, "Oh, he's gay," like put it like a put down. And part of me just got so mad, but I just stayed calm and I said, stating that is like saying you're a boy, or that you live in Kohala, or that, you're in fifth grade. What about it? Do you have recommendations on how I could ever respond when somebody's trying to put down another student like that, who's already announced it, but saying it in the put down line?
Well, I'm only speaking from a perspective that I maintain personally as my personal Hawaiian perspective in my Hawaiian world. Sometimes it may seem romanticized, but rather, as I learned from my newly made friend, in a sense of oneness and maintaining that oneness with this place that I am from and of this place. Other Hawaiians, many Hawaiians don't have the privilege of knowing our language and intimately knowing the nuances and the complexities of our culture and cultural understanding and philosophy and worldview. So it usually tends to be an eclectic mix, a fusion of understanding such that many Mahu themselves will equate Mahu with gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, with emphasis on the transgender. But Mahu is not that. As I have learned to see it, Mahu is a rough parallel of LGBTQIA, but not an exact equivalent. Because the centering on one from the other is very different. In the construct of LGBTQIA, sex and gender, who one wishes to have a relationship with, who one wishes to have intimacy with, who one chooses to share one's life with, how one dresses and how one's mannerisms and demeanor is articulated forth on any given day. That is not what my understanding of identity is, but it's a kind of a mainstream understanding again, because we're a people that have literally been infused with outside values and outside norms. So, to answer your question, Hawaiian families who really understand what Mahu is, they'll see you and they'll always know. You never have to announce to a family because the family will know before you even realize it. My grandmother, even at a young age, once in a while she said Mahu, but she chose to use a different slang word. What she thought was a Chinese word is actually a mispronunciation of a proper term in Chinese, hamsa. But it's really a derivative, it's a corrupt version of hansa. Hansa means a boy with itchy hands. Like touch. But that really wasn't the term, but it was a slang that came into common usage by my grandmother's generation and was used to apply to Mahu. But that my grandmother didn't use the word Mahu because she too had that understanding, that false understanding to me of what Mahu was and was not, which wasn't a good word. But the more I come to understand the intricacies of language, because I have to think about it on the TV, I have to play around with it and be like a scientist with these understandings. So, again, towards your question, that child didn't necessarily even need to announce. Now, if the student body was only Hawaiians, you wouldn't have to say anything because everybody just would know. But in the mixed community, that child was saying, I understand who I am. I understand that there's elements of me that have both Kana and Mahine. Sometimes where they are at 15 is not where they're going to be at 20, is not where they're going to be at 25, 30, 35. Life is dynamic, life changes, brings change. You grow in how you feel, and sometimes your desires, likes, and wants may be this, but later on they shift for whatever reasons. If you encourage your school body to honor the word aloha and say that at this school we honor the word aloha. Aloha, yes, it does mean love, but it comes innately or intrinsically embedded into that with respect, honor, dignity, kindness, and compassion. There are other terms to speak to these things individually, but aloha is encompassing of all that. And so to maintain a policy of aloha, a child that is biologically male but they have ways that may be opposite or may be associated with the opposite. They should just simply be as they are, because that's their natural true self. And however their natural true self grows up and matures in the world, it's going to be how they grow. It's like a plant, you know? If you nurture it and grow it in a certain way, then it's like certain plants that can be aloha. It's like certain things that you can make it grow in certain ways. You know, a coconut tree is known to be tall, but you can make a coconut tree grow close to the land. Kalapana is famous for that saying. Nani moe kalapana. Anyway, again, towards your question, a policy of aloha. At the end of the day, there will be aloha, whether you are dark skinned, fair skinned, whether you are slim, not slim, whether you are whatever personality is yours, whatever are those ways, as long as you're not harming somebody. For me personally, you know, especially when it comes to the topic of LGBTQIA and parents changing children, I'm so thankful that my parents didn't do what kind of modern parents do, like to take me to a doctor at an early age or to determine this stuff, because sometimes you need to evolve naturally and you shouldn't necessarily try to push something. At the point in time where I started to walk in this particular light and embrace this element of the truth in my life, I had to be ready for it. But as a young child, you're not always emotionally mentally ready for things in life. So I'm glad that I had a chance to learn it naturally. I'm glad that I had a chance to experience a range of things in life, a range of relationships, a range of articulations of my physicality. Western society and Western world has a very different approach to it. And we're witnessing it in the world today, especially in politics. But for me, it makes me dig my heels even more into my centering and into my oneness with the womb, the land that I come from. So, aloha is all that I can tell you. And that as long as you and your administration, your teaching staff will not try to venture beyond that, meaning that it's almost an equivalent of inclusion and stuff, but then you don't have to say all that. Because aloha simply means, again, courtesy, kindness, respect, honor for all. And that there shall be compassion, and that this shall be an environment that is embracing of you as you come. And that there should be a focus on what I taught you today, kulana and kulera. The role of being a student is to avail themselves to soak in and be a sponge for all that is being shared in that environment of learning. And that teachers need to be the conduits, the doorways, and the pathways that share and impart knowledge whatever they can. Parents, well, there's much, as someone who taught for 13 years in a public charter school, a lot of the parents never really did their jobs. At least the ones from my most troubled kids, they didn't do their part. But they certainly tried to come and micromanage what we did at school. Yeah. So, again, kulana and kulea. Parents do have much to say about what happens at a school, but by choosing to come to a certain school, if the school's policy is aloha, at the end of the day, then that's how it should be. So that way you don't have to overtly push a child one way or another, you just let them be. And However they wish to be acknowledged, that's it, you know? Again, kulana kulana. What's the role of a student? Learn. What's another role of a student? Be kind to others, be respectful to your teachers. Because the duty and obligation of the student is X, X, X. What's the role of a teacher? What are the duties and responsibilities of being a teacher? If you think about it, kulana and kulana, just let it flow, and you'll come to your own epiphanies on the time that you come to it. Yeah. But hopefully
Yeah.
that will avail to the question you asked. And I believe there was a request for me to sing some.
Remember, she is a composer, so she was going to sing a song that was going to be very familiar.
This song sings to 4 verses. The plight or predicament of Hawaiians in the modern context. The plea, second verse is the plea. Again, first verse was the plight or predicament. This is very centered to Hawaiian community, but it could be beyond. The second verse is a plea for help. The plea to ask our Hawaiians of all the islands to come together, join, to unite. The third verse is a plan. What are we going to do? And in that plan, we will move forward and acknowledge that life is full of challenges, but you don't go backwards in time, you only move forward. There's no turning back. So go forward. Embrace what you must. Strive for the best. And the fourth verse is the prayer, invoking that there will be a positive outcome, of which in the prayer that I wrote in the song, it says that Hawaii would be its independent spirit once again, that we would be able to retain our place in the larger fabric and the tapestry of the world and diversity of the world, the beauty of the world. The world is beautiful because of a myriad of colors, a myriad of fragrance. The world is a great and wonderful place because of all that it encompasses and Hawaii is a part of that. The chorus speaks to standing firm, standing tall, my Hawaii. This is a new dawn for our people and our community. And so for my community, my people, my nation, I will give my all, so that the legacy of our ancestors lives on. Goes like this. Aiko kamoana ailana e Hawaii na we aluru kahonua haumea na kulukuru e kalani ki e kaumailuna aue ke aloha ole akamarihi Uha'aheo e ku Hawaii Mamakaua o Hu'aina o ke e hukakahiaka o na oiwi o Hawaii nei no hu'ulahu i e a'awipau Aiola mau, auhea wale oko alikoa o ke ave e poka malala parula me kaku i hewa alu mai kualu ai me ko manu kalani ko ka i mai ana mena kama akahelelani Uha'aheo e ku Hawaii Mamakaua its imagery is beautiful. It says, may my eyes become bleary like that of the bat. Make my skin, until my skin becomes furrowed like the pandanus, until my cane resounds on the floor, and then you have to haul me away in a net because I'm frail and infirm. And then when it comes my time, may you take me into the presence of Wakea, from the bosom of Mother Earth unto the presence of Wakea Sky Father. O kaulai ke apuai nanamai kau maupula pula e ora kaniko ahau maka iole apala uhala akau ikapuane ane alai lale aku oe aku ike alo wake ai o kau olae ke aku ai nana mai kau mau pula pula e ola kaniko ahau maka iole apalala uhala akau ikapuane ane alai lala aku oe aku ike aro wake ae o kau olae ke aku ai nana mai kau mau pula pula e ola ganiko ahau maka iyo le apalalau ala akau ikapuane ane alai lalae aku oe au ike alo wake ai Iolai, iolala, iolaloa, ai. Please, if you would all repeat with me, ola, ola, ola. Ola, ola, ola. Ola, ola, ola. Ola means life. So, may life and wellness be ours today. Ola.